We want to welcome our pharmacist friend here in Denton. Gene Kerr is here with us. Gene, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Gene, you've created quite a stir around the country, having been fired from your job at Eckerd's Pharmacy. Tell us about that.
Well, I guess we were presented with a prescription. There were three of us there, and a patient brought in a prescription, a gentleman actually, for a patient who was reportedly raped, and she was out in the car, and the prescription was for a morning after dosing of a drug called Overall. And we just essentially went by the female pharmacist who was on duty then at the time. It went by her first. She didn't want to fill it. She deferred it to me. And so I didn't want to fill it. I went in the back and prayed for a little bit about it, and even called my associate pastor just to make sure I was doing the right thing, because when I heard it was for a rape victim, I was just, wow, this is a nightmare. Right. And came back out. The night pharmacist was there. He didn't want to fill it. So then I called the gentleman over and told him that we couldn't fill the prescription.
Now, this was the person that was with this young lady?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And they were claiming that she was raped. And
yes, and I mean, I don't really have any doubts about that. I mean, at least it never crossed my mind to question it at the time. So,
right. And you just, out of conscience, said, I'm not going to participate in something that might take the life of this lady's unborn child.
That's correct, yes, sir.
And none of the other pharmacists there would either.
That's correct.
And the result of this was that you ended up getting fired from Eckerd's. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did they have a written policy that said you had to fulfill these prescriptions?
They had some sort of policy which I had never seen. It was never, I never received a copy of their policies, but there was a policy that said you could not refill or could not refuse to fill a prescription for religious, political, or moral reasons, I believe was how it was read to me.
Right. You know, the interesting thing about all this is that Eckerd's Pharmacy was started by Jack Eckerd, who was a professing Christian. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that he got in trouble for years ago was refusing to allow pornography to be sold at Eckerd's drugstores. Of course, he's no longer associated with the organization, and it kind of makes you wonder what his view on all of this would be. Have you had any kind of feedback on that front?
Actually, I haven't, not at all. I mean, I did know that he was a Christian, so I knew that was kind of contrary to what Eckerd's was originally started as, you know.
Right. Yeah. You know, there's been a lot of coverage about this nationwide, but a lot of it here in Denton. As a matter of fact, as late as last night, there was a really good letter to the editor supporting your position in the Denton Record-Chronicle. And this woman who wrote this article, this letter to the editor, made a very good point. She says, Eckerd's is telling you as a pharmacist that you have to check your morals at the door when you come to work there.
Right, right. And yet it's my morals that, you know, they want people who are going to be good workers, good employees. They want people who aren't going to steal from them. They want people who are going to come in on time and all that stuff. So there's certain morals that they want as long as it helps them, but not necessarily this one.
Right. Well, I want to congratulate you on what you've done. I know you've taken a lot of heat over this, but it's very seldom we see in this culture people who are willing to actually sacrifice something for their moral beliefs. I think that the vast majority of people who were placed in the same situation as you were would have been more than willing to just let it go, just go along with it and not do anything about it.
Yeah, I suppose. It just seemed to me that I had refused to fill it, 4 or 5 times in the past, and I just feel like God just orchestrated this situation. And I don't think I did anything that necessarily any other Christians wouldn't have done, but...
Well, actually, Gene, as somebody who works in the pro-life movement every day, I can tell you for sure you did something that most Christians wouldn't have done. I can promise you that that's the case. But anyway, we want to thank you for being here, and if something comes up in the future on this, I wish you would let us know about it. What are you doing now? What's the future for you?
Well, right now I'm looking at going on staff with Probe Ministries. They're an apologetic-based ministry based here in Garland, and I'm looking at doing an internship with them. It's starting in a couple weeks, actually. Right.
Well, that's good, and we'll all be praying for you that the cost of this won't be too high for you standing up for your moral conscience. And, well, one of the things... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to suggest if anybody... if you feel like me that this policy was wrong, one of the things you can do is call the 1-800-ECKERDS, ECKERDS number and let them know what you think about this.
Right. Well, that's a good idea for people to know. And also, when they're getting prescriptions filled, I know that there was some information floating around Denton here that's not been made public, but that there are doctors now who are refusing to send prescriptions to Eckerd's because of this situation. And that's the kind of pressure that has to be brought on these people for them to do the right thing. Thanks for being with us, Gene.
Thank you.